Swayam Dati Swapadanti Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha Namaha Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desapari Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurapisya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Krupa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So hope all of you have wonderful Janmashtami celebrations at your own places. So especially those who are in Pune. I heard lakhs of people attended the festival. Many of you might have services almost 3 days, right? So hectic schedule. And Prabhupada's appearance day also is celebrated. I was hearing yesterday the offerings of devotees from NVCC, very beautiful offerings for everybody as well. So with all these memories, so which are fresh in our mind, so again we will discuss the Bhagavatam. So where we are also discussing this section where Krishna is very much involved in sections where Krishna is about to leave this planet, the feelings of separation which the Pandavas will feel. So very, very inspiring and touching to our hearts, which will again revise our Janmashtami celebrations. Okay, so we are discussing the 14th chapter. So, yeah, just in summary, the 14th chapter is about Arjuna being sent to Dwarka to ask about the whereabouts of Krishna, what he is going to do further, because now the war is already done. What is his further mission so that we can assist him? So Yudhishthira sends Arjuna, but Arjuna did not come till 7 months since he has gone. So, and then Yudhishthira has observed bad omens throughout the surroundings. The left part of his body was quivering, but all these other, the earthly omens, the bodily omens, the celestial omens, so like that. And then after seeing the omens, so Arjuna comes. Arjuna returns with a dejected face. Then Yudhishthira inquires, why you are so dejected? Is everything okay in Dwarka? So he was inquiring. Of course, Yudhishthira could predict maybe the words of Narada Muni that he told in the previous chapter that Krishna might have disappeared and Yadu dynasty might have got extinguished. So with that in mind, he starts inquiring, but indirectly, that what happened to the family members, the Yadus, all they are happy, right? So he was asking about all the devotees also, all the family members there. So that part, so we were in the 31st verse we discussed. We are in 32nd verse of 14th chapter. Yeah. So the 31st verse. So from 25th verse, Yudhishthira Maharaj starts inquiring whether everybody is happy in Dwaraka. So in the last verse, 31st verse, so where Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking about the different sons of Lord Krishna, such as Sushena, Charudeshna, Samba, the son of Jambavati, and Vrishabha, and the sons are doing well. So where Prabhupada writes about the great family of Lord, that there were about 16,108 wives, and each one of them had 10 sons. And again, each one of them, there are 10 sons, grandsons. Like that, the total family was almost 1 crore, 10 million. This is the family of Krishna when he was present. Of course, Prabhupada writes that everybody, all the jivas are the family of Krishna only. So this is nothing astonishing. So we discussed that how, when we understand the greatness of the Lord, so the humility is the natural symptom. So it's not something artificially we have to imitate, but just by understanding the greatness of the Lord, so it will naturally come. And that is very much required for us to progress in spiritual life. So the 32nd and 33rd verse we'll discuss. Maybe Anush Prabhu can share the screen, then we'll start reading. Is it possible for Anush Prabhu to share, or you want to?
Sorry, Mataji will share. I will reach in 5 minutes.
Oh, no issue. I saw you are traveling. Yeah. Yeah, who is sharing? Please share. 32nd and 33rd verse of 14th chapter. So I'll read the verse till the time. Tateva anuchara saure Shruta Devodavadaya Sunandananda Shishanaya Yechanye Sattvatarushabha Apiswastya Sarve Rama Krishna Bhujashraya Apismaranti Kushalam Asmakam Baddha Sauhruda. Maybe till the time I can only share.
Also,
yeah, please read the translation.
Also, Shrutadev, Uddhava, and others, Nanda, Sunanda, and other leaders of liberated souls who are constant companions of the Lord are protected by Lord Balaram and Krishna. Are they all doing well in their functions? Do they, who are all eternally bound in friendship with us, remember our welfare?
He's asking about the Uddhava, Nanda, Sunanda. These are all the eternally liberated souls who came with the Lord in this world to assist in his mission. So Prabhupada writes in the purport. So, yeah. Yeah, read the purport, the constant companions of the Lord.
The constant companions of Lord, such as Uddhava, are all liberated souls, and they descended along with Lord Krishna to this material world to fulfill the mission of the Lord. The Pandavas are also liberated souls who descended along with Lord Krishna to serve him in his transcendental pastimes on this earth. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.8,
continue. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord and his eternal associates who are also eternally liberated, like the Lord, come down to this earth at certain intervals.
Oh, as numbers them all, but his associates, although liberated souls, forget due to their being Tatastha Shakti or marginal potency of the Lord. That is the difference between the Vishnu Tattva and Jeev Tattva. The Jeev Tattvas are infinitesimal potencies, potential particles of the Lord, and therefore they require the protection of the Lord at all times. And to the eternal servitors of the Lord is pleased to give all protection at all times. The liberated souls never therefore think themselves as free as the Lord or as powerful as the Lord, but they always seek the protection of the Lord in all circumstances, both in the material world and in the spiritual world. This dependence of the liberated soul is constitutional, for the liberated souls are like sparks of a fire that are able to exhibit the glow of fire along with the fire, and not
Okay.
independently.
Okay,
Independently, the
finish the
glow of
purport.
the sparks is extinguished.
Yeah, finish the purport.
Continue. Okay. Independently, the glow of the sparks is extinguished, although the quality of fire or the glowing is there. Thus, those who give up the protection of the Lord and become so-called Lord themselves out of spiritual ignorance come back again to this material world, even after prolonged tapasya of the severest type. That is the verdict of all Vedic literature.
So in this purport, so Prabhupada is focusing on the difference between the Vishnu Tattva and the Jiva Tattva. So the main point, right? So even though the Jivas are liberated souls, still they are prone to forget, whereas the Lord never forgets the events. Like we saw in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asking Krishna, so how is that you told this knowledge to Sun God who is well before you? That Katametat Vijaniyam Tumado Praktva. Like what Arjuna is asking, that how am I to understand, O Krishna, that you spoke this knowledge to Sun God? Then Krishna says that Bahuni me vetitani janmani tavachatu. I remember all those births that you and I took millions of lives before also, but you don't remember. So the Lord is beyond liberated, even conditioned and even liberated souls also. So this comes in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So maybe you can go through later. It's a very important section where the supreme position of the Lord is given in the 15th chapter, 16 and 17 and 18 verses. So, yeah. So there, though vimau purusho loke ksharas chakshare vacha ksharas sarvani bhutani bhutastokshara uchara. So there are two classes of people. Krishna says one is kshara, fallible, and then another is akshara, infallible. Like that. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. And then 17th verse he says that Uttama Purushastu Anyaha Paramatmeti Udahita Yolokatrema Vishya Vibhakti Avyaya Ishvara. Besides these two classes, there is one more class. There is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, Uttama Purusha, the imperishable Lord himself who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. So the Lord is in a different category above the conditioned and liberated souls. So very clearly Bhagavad Gita says. Yasmaksharam, next verse. Yasmaksharam atitoham aksharada vichottama atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottama. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and the Vedas as the Supreme Person. So this is a unique position of the Lord. So beyond the conditioned and liberated living. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. And therefore, the Lord is never touched by Maya. So he is always above Maya. Alright? So there is one verse in, we read just in 10th chapter of this canto, that Etad Ishanam Ishasya Prakrutistopi Tadgunai. So the Lord is never touched by the material nature. He is above the material nature. And even those who have taken shelter of that Lord, they are also not touched by the material nature. So that is the position of the Lord. He never forgets his position. Whereas sometimes even the liberated souls, like Arjuna also, like Uddhava also, they may forget their position by the Lord's desire. So that is Prabhupada is telling. Therefore, every jiva requires protection by the Lord. If the Lord doesn't give protection, they may forget their position, or they may get affected by the mental nature. So therefore, the pure devotees, they know this, and therefore they always seek shelter of the Lord. Right? Like Prabhupada, we see sometimes he said that I'm not fearful of Maya. I can kick Maya, like the Prabhupada says. And the next moment, devotees saw him going in front of the altar and he's praying to the Lord very intensely. And then devotee asked him, Prabhupada, what you are praying? So Prabhupada told that I'm praying Krishna that please protect me from Maya. But Prabhupada, just now you told that you are not fearful of Maya, that you can slap Maya. Then Prabhupada told that I can tell like that because I always take shelter of the Lord. I always ask for the protection of the Lord. So that is pure devotees. They're always aware of their position. They know that they're vulnerable to Maya. So therefore, the 24 hours by 7, they seek shelter of the Lord. So that is the point Prabhupada is telling here. And we have example that Prabhupada writes on the purport. Like in a river, if you see the current is going downstream, even an elephant cannot swim or cannot cross the river because the elephant with that huge body may also get swept away by the current of the river. But a small fish in the river can easily swim opposite to the current also. Prabhupada says why? Because the fish has taken the shelter of the river. So therefore it can even go in the opposite direction. So pure devotees are like that. So like another example we give is that when you go to a house, somebody's house, and the owner is, we are calling the owner, but from inside a big dog comes, bulldog, shouting, barking at you. You become very fearful. But how to go inside? What is the way to go inside? You want to enter. What we should do?
Call the friend.
owner.
Yes, you have to call the owner. So with his name, if you know his name, you call him, and then the owner comes, hey Tommy, chup. So then the dog just will sway the tail and then lick the feet. Similarly, so Krishna is like the owner and Maya is like the dog. So in the material world, so Maya is always troubling us, barking at us. And when we understand this, then immediately call out the Krishna, the owner of this material world. Immediately Krishna will say, Maya, don't disturb this devotee. So this is the example. Therefore, we need the protection of the Lord always. But this is a simple process. Even Prahlad Maharaj prays. If you 7th canto, 8th chapter, and 15th and 16th verses, maybe I'll just show. There, very beautifully, Prahlad Maharaj prays. You'll see that these two things. Yeah. It's 7, 9, 15, I think.
Do you want me to share?
Yeah, can you share 7, 9, 15?
7, 9, 53 you said?
15, 1, 5.
1,
5. Naham bibemi ajitate atibayanakasya. Like that it starts. Yeah, this one. So Prahlad is praying that I am not afraid of you, my Lord. Naham bibemi ajitate atibayanakasya. Because the Lord came with such a fearful form, right? Atibayanakasya. Everybody is fearful. Jihvar kanetra burkute ravashogra damstra. Antrasya Shata Kreshara Shankukarna Nirhada Vita Divad Aribinna Karta. So translation, good translation. So please quickly read this translation.
My Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp, pinching teeth, your garland of intestine, your um, mane soaked with blood, or your high, wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies.
Yeah. So Prahlad Maharaj is not fearful of Narasimhadev because he knows that he is my Lord. Like a lion, Prabhupada gives in the purport, cub is not fearful of the lion because cub knows he's my father or my mother. So here only I think that example Prabhupada gives, that elephant and the river example. So the next verse, Prahlad Maharaj is telling, go to next verse. So here Prahlad Maharaj is telling, I'm not fearful. The next verse only is telling, but I am fearful. Prashtosmyaham Krupanavatsa Dushrahodra Samsara Chakrakadana Satam Pranita Baddhasvakarma Virusattamate Moolam Prito Pavarga Sharanam Payase Kadana. Translation.
O most powerful, insurmountable Lord. O most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I have been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities, and therefore I am very much afraid of my conditions of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditioned life?
So I'm very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. So this is a sign of a pure devotee. On one side is not fearful, but knowing the Lord is there to save me. On the other side, he is very much fearful that anytime I may get succumbed by Maya. So this fear is actually that which saves them. Prabhupada says that the only complaint that I have is my disciples are not sufficiently fearful of Maya. So that healthy fear, you say, that is very much required. Then we actually always seek shelter of the Lord. That fear is not there. Maya kya karenge? Hum khel sakte hain. Then we are succumbed. We may not take shelter of the Lord. So this we can learn from this verse. And then the other point, go to the purport of current purport 33, verse 14th chapter. Last part, last 4 lines of the purport.
Prabhu, I'll read.
No. Already we read. Just go to the purport, last 4 lines.
Okay.
So where he's telling, thus those who give up the protection of the Lord and become so-called Lord themselves out of spiritual ignorance, come back to the material world even after prolonged tapasya at the severest step. Right? So, like Bhagavad Gita also we see now, there are 2 processes. One is impersonalist, those who worship the Avyakta. Avyakta asakta chetasa. Klesho adhikatarastesham avyakta asakta chetasa. They're attached to the impersonal form and they perform a lot of tapasya, austerities, and then they reach the Supreme Lord. And then the others who are bhaktas, they just practice devotional service and they also attain the Supreme Lord. So out of these 2, the Lord is telling his verdict that the devotional service is very easy and comfortable for those who are embodied. It's like here also, Prabhupada is telling, without taking shelter of the Lord, without being protected by the Lord, sometimes somebody may follow the other processes, like jnana, yoga, or whatever, tapasya, vairagya. But that is troublesome. At the same time, one may not reach the goal also. So, I was remembering one story. There is one bhakta and there is one yogi practicing Ashtanga Yoga. And then the Bhakta, he is practicing devotional service and is like in the neophyte stage. So Narada Muni comes, and then the neophyte Bhakta, he asks, so Narada, so if you are going to the spiritual world, please ask the Lord, then I'll be coming back. It's a little different story. And then Narada Muni goes to the other person who is a yogi, and the yogi also asks, so Narada, if you are going to the spiritual world, please let me know when I will get liberated, moksha. So then Narada Muni goes and then asks the Lord. The Lord replies that the Bhakta will take 100 lifetimes and the yogi will take 7 lifetimes. So Narada Muni comes back and he tells the devotee, first he meets the devotee and he tells that, oh, the Lord said that he will take a lot of lifetimes, 100 more lifetimes. And the Bhakta is very joyful. Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Only 100 lifetimes. No problem. I'm happy now also. I will again continue my process. Eating, sleeping, right? Feasting. So what? I have to do this only. So then Narada Muni went to the other person, yogi. And then he told that, the Lord told that he will take just few lifetimes, 7 more lifetimes. Then he will go, oh, 7 more lifetimes. My God, I cannot do this tapasya, 7 more lifetimes. This lifetime is enough. So like this, the story I just heard, a little different. But the point is that the process of devotional service is so easy and simple and sublime. So what we have to do in this process is just be sufficiently faithful of Maya. Just take shiksha of the Lord. So we will go to the next verse. Bhagavanapi Govindo Brahmanyo Bhaktavatsala Kachit Pure Sudharmayam Sukamaste Suritruta.
Is Lord Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives pleasure to the cows, the senses, and the Brahmanas, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, enjoying the pious assembly at Dwarkapuri, surrounded by friends?
Yes, finally, Vishnu Maharaj has come to the inquiry of the Lord, which is the main subject matter. What kind of a Lord? He is giving adjectives. Govinda, Brahmanya, Bhaktavatsala. 3 adjectives there. He is a Bhagavan, one is having all opulences, and he is Govinda, who gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. He is Brahmanya, who is affectionate to the devotees, and Bhaktavatsala, like the devotees and Brahmins. So, this nice purport. So, yeah. So the first point is that he is Govinda because one of the meaning of Govinda is one who gives pleasure to the senses. Go means senses also. Go can also means cows. Pleasure to the senses and cows. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says that Kimno Rajyena Govinda, Kimboger Jivitenava. So he's addressing Krishna as Govinda, that, oh Govinda, you are the giver of pleasure to the cows and senses. How can you ask me to kill my relatives? How it will give pleasure to my senses? So he's indirectly addressing Lord as Govinda and telling, you have to give pleasure to my senses. By asking me to kill my relatives, how that will give pleasure to my senses? So therefore Arjuna addresses Lord with the word Govinda. So, yeah. But the point is, Govinda is that we feel satisfied when we perform devotional service with those senses. So when we render service to the Lord with the purified senses, then the Lord will give pleasure to the senses. Not that we do any kind of nonsense, materialistic activities, and we want Lord, why are you not pleasing me? Why there is no happiness in this world? So that is not the case. Govinda means when it gives pleasure to our senses when we render devotional service. Right. And then Brahmanya word. So go to the middle of the purport. The Lord is the protector of cows and the Brahmanical culture. There you read.
The Lord is the protector of the cows and Brahminical culture. A society devoid of cow protection and Brahminical culture is not under the direct protection of the Lord. Just as the prisoners in the jails are not under the protection of the king, but under the protection of a severe agent of the king. Without cow protection and cultivation of Brahminical qualities in human society, at least for a section of members of society, no human civilization can prosper at any length.
Please stop here, bro. Okay. So, very emphatic statement Prabhupada is making that without the protection and cultivation of Brahminical qualities, at least for a section, no human civilization can prosper at any length. So, one of the important aspect of ISKCON Krishna Conscious Society is that we need to have co-protection in Brahminical culture. Right? So we may not be directly doing that, but earlier it is said that the number of cows are more than the number of citizens. Actually, that is it used to be like that, but we don't really see cows only. Of course, good fortune now that we are having so many goshalas in our temple itself. So we may not be directly involved in cow production, but what we can do is that at least we can purchase cow products, start using cow products. In that way, we may be supporting cow production indirectly and start drinking cow milk. Right. So, because a miracle food, Prabhupada says, cow milk, it will develop the fine tissues by which we can understand the spiritual subject matter. So, go down to the purport. The stage of a devotee which attracts the transcendental affection of the Lord.
Stage of a devotee which attracts the transcendental affection of the Lord does not develop unless one has developed the qualities of a Brahmana as above mentioned. The Lord is inclined to a Brahmana of quality and not of false prestige. Those who are less than a Brahmana by qualification cannot establish any relation with the Lord, just as fire cannot be kindled from the raw earth unless there is wood, although there is a relation between the wood and the earth. Since the Lord is...
Let's stop. So the point Prabhupada is making is so very applicable for devotees that we cannot develop that affection for the Lord unless we have developed the Brahminical qualities. So we cannot be falsely claiming ourselves as we are qualified now as Brahmanas without developing these qualities. Many times, of course, I'm not just speaking for myself, where at least I'm very eager to take the Brahman Diksha or whatever, but we have to check we have developed those qualities. So, Kshamo Damos Tapassocham, Shauryam, Shanti Rajyavam. This comes in the 18th chapter, the qualities of Brahmana, the 12 qualities of Brahmanas. So, at least, of course, initiation is the beginning. So, initiation may come, we may get initiation. But we get first initiation, the Das title is given. That means there's a beginning. Now we have to cultivate it. So we have to begin the process to become the servant. Similarly, Brahman Diksha means now we have to begin the process where I develop these qualities like that. So without that, we will be hypocrite. And progressing, we need to develop, otherwise we cannot go to the other next step. That's why Vaishnava, actually Vaishnava is beyond Brahmana. So therefore, importance of developing mode of goodness is very important in devotional life, right? So sometimes devotees have this notion that goodness comes in modes. We are above modes, right? Devotional service means beyond 3 modes. So we can directly go to bhakti from any mode. Why we need to cultivate goodness? It's not actually bhakti. Like that, some have this understanding. But Prabhupada, many places clarifies, and even we hear from devotees that the mode of goodness is a platform from where we can easily switch to the Suddha Sattva. So it's like if you want to fly to other states or other countries, you need to go to the airport. So you cannot directly board the flight from your house going top of your building. The plane will not come there. So therefore, you need to drive towards the airport, no matter what traffic is there in between, like that. And then from the airport, you can fly. So therefore, cultivating mode of goodness is like that. So we need to cultivate so that we have a platform where we can fly the mode of Shuddha Sattva. So, like we have Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Vivarjana. Whatever is favorable, we accept in devotional service. Whatever is unfavorable, we reject. If mode of goodness is favorable for our devotional service, we accept it. Right? So then that becomes devotional service also. Like early morning getting up, right? Brahma Muhurta, taking bath, and sitting in a very vibrant spiritual, vibrant place, especially in temple and house before the altar. When we chant, then there is some attention, right? So, or you are in a busy traffic place, or somewhere in brothel house. So, how can we chant that place? So, we easily get affected by the surroundings, by the modes. So, because we are not in that platform, like Jagannath Das Baba, Lord Kishore Das Baba, where they can chant even little notes. Therefore, for us, it's very important to cultivate this mode of goodness. Because it is favorable for our devotion service, that is also good. It's not because of raga and dvesha we are practicing devotional service. Like sometimes people are attached to cleanliness or attached to taking bath than devotional service. That is not good. But Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Rachana. Based on this principle, we are practicing mode of goodness. Not because of attachment to mode of goodness, not because of raga and dvesha. This difference we should understand. Yeah. Go to the next verse. Correct translation, please. Translation.
The original personality of Godhead, the enjoyer, and Balram, the primeval Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky.
Mahapaurishika Iva. So the last line it says, Prabhupada explains the word in the purport. And also, Aste Yadukulam Bodha Adyo Ananta Shakapuma. The analogy is given. So, third line from the purport, the Kshirodaksha Vishnu has his own planet.
Vishnu has his own planet on the northern top of the universe, and there is a great ocean of milk where the Lord resides on the bed of the Ananta incarnation of Baladeva. Thus, Maharaj Yudhishthir has compared the Yadu dynasty to the ocean of milk and Sri Balram to the Ananta where Lord Krishna resides. He has compared the citizens of Dwarka to the liberated inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Lokas. Beyond the spiritual...
You can stop here. So that is an analogy which is given in the sloka, Prabhupada is explaining. The third and fourth lines of the sloka, where the Yadu dynasty is compared to the ocean of milk, and Balaram is compared to the Ananta, the serpent bed, and Krishna is residing on the Ananta. So that analogy is given. And when you go to the down part of the purport, the inhabitants are known as the Mahapaurishikis.
These inhabitants are known as the Mahapurushikas, or the persons directly engaged in the service of the Lord. They are happy in those planets and are without any kind of misery, and they live perpetually in full youthfulness, enjoying life in full bliss and knowledge without fear of birth, death, old age, or disease, and without the influence of Kala, eternal time.
Okay.
Maharaj Yudhishthira.
Can start. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking about the Lord, right? And members of the Yadu dynasty who are very happy being protected by the arms of the Lord and enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual state. Of course, they are the residents of the spiritual world only. They came here to assist the Lord. So they are called as Mahapaurushikis, right? So directly engaged in the service of the Lord. So the residents of the spiritual world, they're always blissful. Why they're always blissful? Because they don't have any envy, right? And then they have service mode. They always have this service attitude. That's why they're always blissful. If the same mood is there, we also cultivate, then we are also in Vaikuntha, living in this world, right? So if we don't have envy towards others, and if you always have a service mode, how can I serve in this situation, no matter what situation? So this is the Vaikuntha atmosphere. And there is a third canto, 15th chapter, right? 16 to 25 verses speak about this only, the description of the spiritual kingdom. Maybe I will not go to it now. You can all read this section, very, very beautiful section. Third canto, 15th chapter, 16 to 25 verses, which describe about the atmosphere of the spiritual world. Right? Why the spiritual kingdom, the devotees there are so blissful. Okay, go to the next verse, 37th. Translation.
Simply by administrating comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the most important of all services, the queens at Dwarka, headed by Satyabhama, induced the Lord to conquer the demigod. Thus the queen enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of the thunderbolts.
Who is the controller of the thunderbolt? Indra, right? So even the demigods' wives, even Indra's wives, she could not enjoy those opulences which are easily enjoyed by the wives of the Lord Krishna. So the Lord could do anything for their pleasure. So means externally it appears that the Lord is like a handpicked husband. So the word has some negative connotation in this word. But for the Lord, when we apply, it is a bhushana. It is not a dushana. Right? Because the Lord is not attracted by the external features of his wives, or he is not like the husband of this world. So the Lord is only moved by the devotion of the devotee. Therefore, he is ready to do anything, moved by the devotion. So here, that same principle we see that so the Lord is just ready to please his devotees, and for them, he is ready to bring things from the heavenly planet and offer them. So the second paragraph of the purport, Satyabhama, that paragraph. Second paragraph, not first.
Satyabhama instigated her husband to get the Parijat flower from the heavenly planets, and the Lord got it even by force from the demigod. As a common husband secures things to please his wife, as already explained, the Lord had very little to do with so many wives to carry out their orders like an ordinary man. But because the queens accepted the high quality of devotional service, namely administrating the Lord all comforts, the Lord played the part of a faithful and complete husband. No earthly creature can expect to have things from the heavenly kingdom, especially the Parijat flower, which are simply to be used by the demigods. But due to their becoming the Lord's faithful wife, all of them enjoyed the
prerogatives of the great wives of the denizens of heaven. In other words, since the Lord is the proprietor of everything within his creation, it is not very astonishing for the queens of the Dwarka to have any rare thing from any part of the universe.
Everything belongs to the Lord. The Lord can bring anything to please his devotees from anywhere, right? So Prabhupada is telling that, as already explained, the Lord had very little to do with so many wives to carry out their orders like an ordinary man. So what does that mean? Just wait, we are discussing that paragraph. So as already explained means where it is explained. Anybody can guess? As already explained, the Lord had very little to do with so many wives to carry out their orders like an ordinary man. Previously, already explained means Prabhupada is any guess? So this comes in the 10th chapter, I think, 10th or 11th chapter, the queens of Dwarka and Hastinapur. So Uttama Bhava Pishunamala Valguhasa Bridava Loka Neto Mahanopi. That sloka, you find out just a minute. Yeah, so this is 1:11:36. Uddama Bhava Pishunama Lavalguhasa Bridavaloka Niheto Madanopi Yasam Sammuhyachapama Jahat Pramadottamasta Yashendriyam Vimatitum Puhakaina Shetu. So nothing can disturb the Lord. Although the queens, beautiful, smiling and looking on from the corner of the eyelids, are all spotless, exciting and grave, which could have conquered even the Cupid personally, because he gave up his bow in frustration, still by all these magical feats of attractive features, they could hardly agitate the senses of the Lord. Right? So he is a Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Visheshushu. Even the Cupid faints seeing the beauty of the Lord. So therefore, he is not excited by the physical beauty of the queens. He has nothing to do with that. But he is only moved by the devotion of the wives. So therefore, the point when we read that, people just take only the external things. Why the Lord is behaving, Lord's behaving to his wives. Therefore, we need to hear all the things. The Lord even loves the cows also. The cows are also equally dear to the Lord. So, then we don't misunderstand the Lord. So that's what Prabhupada is telling here. And there is one more verse. When we surrender to the Lord, that nothing is there in the 14th planet system that is we cannot achieve. Dham Maharaj could achieve the kingdom greater than Brahma just by surrendering to the Lord. So Mukunda Malastutra, King Kulashekar says that Natena Purushottamet Vijagatam Ekadipe Chetasa. He is not my Lord, the master of the three worlds, who can give anything we want. He can give his own spiritual world also. Natena Purushottame Trijagatam Ekadipe Chetasa Sevya Swasya Padasya Datari Pare Narayani Tishti. But what we are doing? Yam Kinchit Purushadama Katipaya Gramesha Malparpitam. But we are so foolish that we want few villages to rule over. Therefore, what we are doing? Yam Kinchit Purushadama Katipaya Gramesha Malparpitam. Sevaye Vrugayamahe Naramaho Mudavaraka. So therefore, हम चापलूसी कर रहे हैं. चापलूसी किसका कर रहे हैं? Some leaders का, some politicians का चापलूसी कर रहे हैं. उनके पीछे पीछे जा रहे हैं. क्यों? ताकि वो हमको कुछ पोस्ट देंगे, कुछ सरपंच बना देंगे, कुछ ग्रामों का ये बना देंगे, मेयर बना देंगे. So beautiful verse. Why the Lord will not give Anything you want, he will give. He is the Lord of the three worlds. The Lakshmi Pati. He can give his own spiritual world. Why you are after such tiny, puny living entities who will die themselves? And what about their gifts? So very, very important that when even the elections come, the politicians, they appoint people for canvassing and they will give a lot of amount for them. So when we are preaching the message of the Lord, so we are also canvassing for the Lord. Why the Lord will not give whatever we want? So the devotee need to have this faith. And the Lord will surely give. He gave to Bali Maharaj. So the heavenly kingdom only made him king. Okay. Go to the next verse, 38. Yat bahudanda vidayana jivino yadu pravira hiyakuto vaya adikramantyam vivirahrutam balat sabam sudharmam surasattamochitam. Translation.
The great heroes of Yadu dynasty, being protected by arms of Lord Sri Krishna, always remain fearless in every aspect, and therefore their feet trample over Sudharma assembly house, which the best demigods deserved, but which was taken away from them.
The middle of the purport, but during the time of Lord Krishna's presence of the middle of the purport. Krishna.
But during the time of Lord Krishna's presence on the earth, the members of Yadu family forcibly brought the celestial assembly house to earth and placed it at Dwarka. They were able to use such force because they were certain of indulgence and protection of Supreme Lord Krishna. In other words, the Lord is provided with best things in the universe by his pure devotees. Lord Krishna was provided with all kinds of comforts and facilities available within the universe by the members of Yadu dynasty, and in return, such servitors of Lord were protected and fearless.
Okay, you can stop here. So this is the principle that the devotees are fearless in serving the Lord, because they know that the Lord will always protect, and the Lord will also reciprocate accordingly. So for here we see the Yadu dynasty, they forcefully went to the heavenly kingdom and brought the Sudharma, the assembly house, to Dwarka just to please the Lord. They want to give the best things to the Lord, and the Lord also will reciprocate again. So this is the mutual dealing between the Lord and the devotee. So the devotee wants to serve the best offer. He wants to offer the best things, and the Lord also will give him sufficient strength and intelligence to acquire those things. So we can see this phenomena in the life of Srila Prabhupada, that he never compromised, right? He offered the best to the Lord. So many temples in his lifetime only. So 108 temples he offered to the Lord, big temples. He also told that we need to have a big Mayapur Chandrodaya temple, which will flood the world with devotion service, which is now about to finish. Right? So Prabhupada is fearless in his preaching and offering the best things to the Lord. Like the Juhu project itself, one of the best offerings Prabhupada gave to Radha Ras Bihari. So many struggles, so many with Mr. Nair, Mr. N. So, but Prabhupada has never compromised. If you read that Leela section, so just 2 days before we celebrated Prabhupada's Vyas Puja. So very, very touching. Prabhupada was never compromising or going back. He was fearless because he knows that Krishna will protect. So I want to offer this to the Lord. I want to offer a big palace to Radha Ras Bihari. Lord also protects. Lord also removed that Nair who heart attack or whatever. So many examples are there like that. Any other examples, Shastric examples or anything where devotees are fearless to offer best things to the Lord? Lord protected them.
Puja.
Kubja. Yeah.
Raman,
Kubja wanted to offer that scent, right?
Sandalwood paste.
Which was supposed to be offered to Kamsa. Yeah, one more devotee telling.
Raman Patni.
Pardon?
Raman Patni.
Brahman Patnis, yeah. They are not fearful of their husbands, that they may reject. They went. Wonderful.
Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, yes. Prahlad Maharaj, oh my God, he was surrounded by demonic kingdom only. Still he was not fearful. When the father asked, what you learned? We can directly, very boldly say that Shranam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Vishnu ka naam sunte hai to Hiranyakashipu becomes hyper. Still Prahlad Maharaj could say that ठीक है वो भक्ति कर सकते थे, ठीक है पिताजी का खुशी के लिए he could have hidden that information, but he was no, so not at all fearful because he knows that Krishna is there, he will protect. Any other examples?
Sudama florist.
Sudama, florist. Okay, all Krishna pastimes are coming. Janmashtami, I think, remembrance. Okay.
Prabhuji, 16,000 queens.
And just any contemporary examples or just Acharya's examples?
Wives of Kalia.
No, okay, those are Shastric and I'm asking about contemporary examples.
Prabhuji, Haridas Thakur.
Of course, Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22nd marketplaces. Was not ready to give up chanting. Yeah. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, right? So they were fearless in spreading Krishna consciousness. When Prabhupada wanted Mayapur land and Juhu land and all these lands, Tamal Krishna went. Only after taking the land, you can return. Prabhupada ordered him. Maharaj went and after 1 week he came and he told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, the land is yours. So such kind of devotees are right? Fearless. So Bhaktivedanta Swami, big distribution, those very, very hard times.
Prabhuji, Russian devotees in salted bread.
That's Russian devotees, salted bread. All these examples are there. So I'm just telling so that it's not something in the books of scriptures only. It's practically we can see in our movement also. So we can take inspiration from them.
Prabhuji, Haladini Mataji. Haladini Mataji.
She was fearless, just went in front and told that you cannot kill devotees in front of me. First kill me before killing. So not at all fearful because she knows that God is there. So why they are fearless, that is Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph. Please read that, you'll understand it.
A forgetful conditioned soul is fearful, but a liberated soul is never fearful. Just as a small child completely dependent on the mercy of his father is never fearful of anyone.
Yes, so that is the point. Because a liberated soul, because he is awakened to the devotional service. So he is aware that the Lord is there always to protect. Just like a child completely dependent on the mercy of his father. The bottom paragraph, the man forgetful of his awakened life is fearful, whereas the man who has not forgotten his position is not at all fearful. So that statement is there. And this analogy also very nice analogy. A person may be fearful of tiger in a dream, but another man who is awake by his side sees no tiger there. So the tiger is a myth for both of them, namely the person dreaming and the person awake. Because actually there is no tiger. But the man forgetful of his awakened life is fearful, whereas the man who has not forgotten his position is not at all fearful. So very nice analogy Prabhupada is telling that. So in a dream you may see the tiger and you are fearful. And in the wakeful state, a person is not seeing any tiger, he is not fearful. So for both of them, the tiger is the myth. In the dream you saw the tiger, it's not that tiger is there. There is no tiger in it. Similarly, in the conditioned state, one forgets Krishna, that I am the child of Krishna. So the fear overtakes him. Bhayam Dvitiya Abhinivesha. So this verse is there. The fear captures a person as soon as one is absorbed in the body. Bhayam Dvitiya Abhiniveshatasya. This Dvitiya means we are soul, Dvitiya means this body is Dvitiya. When we are absorbed in Dvitiya, this body, immediately fear principle comes. That is like we are in dream. When we are absorbed in this body, we are in dream. We are thinking, I am so, like that. And whatever happens to this body or connected to this body, immediately that affects us. But when he is awakened in devotional service, that means one is understanding his position that I am not this body, immediately there is no fear. So, of course, it's not so easy. It's a process, but that is a formula to become fearless. Okay, go to the next sloka. Translation.
Hare Krishna. Translation. My brother Arjuna, please tell me whether your health is all right. You appear to have lost your bodily luster. Is this due to the others disrespecting and neglecting you because of your long stay at Dwaraka?
So now from 39 to 45, 44. So the 10 reasons for Arjuna's rejection are being told. Why Arjuna is dejected? Some reasons Yudhishthira Maharaj is giving. So the first reason is that because you have stayed for a long time in relative's house, you are feeling dejected because of long stay. Somebody disrespected you. So like that. So that is the first reason. Like when we can also apply this in our case also, like when we are dejected, these may be one of the reasons. Like when we go to some place and we stay for a long time, like a guest, sometimes the people may disrespect us. So therefore, we should not stay for a long time in, as a guest, because we may lose our respect. So therefore, Krishna is asking whether somebody disrespected you or neglected you. Okay. 40th verse. Translation.
Has someone addressed you with unfriendly words or threatened you? Could you not give charity to one who asked, or could you not keep your promise to someone?
Yeah. So the second reason, so have you not given charity to one who has asked, or you have promised to someone and you could not give charity? So this charity is a very important principle, especially for a Kshatriya, or any rich person by studying. If somebody begs for charity, one should give. And if you don't give charity, then we feel dejected. Like this principle, we can see in our own lives, like when we go outside, so many people come or they ask for charity, everything. At least therefore we need to carry some prasadam, or at least do something. So this habit of giving should be there, because otherwise the heart becomes hard. Yeah, go to the 41st verse. Translation.
Hare Krishna. You are always the protector of deserving living beings. such as Brahmanas, children, cows, women, and deceased? Would you not give them protection when they approach you for shelter?
So the third reason is that have you not given protection to those who have deserved, those who deserve? Especially 5 kinds of people need protection. Prabhupada gives the purpose: the Brahmanas, the children, the cows, the women, and the deceased. These 5 kinds of people needs protection. Yeah, 40 seconds.
Have you contacted a woman of impeachable character, or have you not properly treated a deserving woman, or have you been defeated on the way by someone who is inferior or equal to you?
The other 2 reasons that have you neglected or treated improperly a deserving woman, or have you defeated under way by someone who is inferior or equal? So Prabhupada writes in the purport about Pratiloma and Anuloma marriages. So Brahmana can marry a Kshatriya woman, but a Kshatriya cannot marry a Brahmana woman. So that becomes Pratiloma. So Krishna, as a Yudhishthira, was asking, have you done like that? Or you did not take the hand of a qualified woman who is deserving, or defeated by inferior person. Like a Kshatriya, it's an insult for a Kshatriya to be defeated by inferior people. It should be for the superior, no problem. It's glorious. Okay, these are all causes for dejection. Next verse.
Have you not taken care of old men and boys who deserve to dine with you? Have you left them and taken your meals alone? Have you committed some unpardonable mistake which is considered to be abominable?
So, very important to take care of old men and boys. First, offer them food, then we can take honor food. Especially when we go for yatras. So, this principle can be taken care that we allow the senior citizens and children. They first offer food and then we can take food. So, these are all appear very simple things. Sometimes they cross our mind. We don't pay attention to them. But these are all causes of dejection. Sometimes when we feel dejected, maybe one of them we are not following properly. Nice. That can be taken care. Next verse, 44.
Or is it that you are feeling empty for all time because you might have lost your most intimate friend, Lord Krishna? Oh, my brother Arjuna, I can think of no other reason for you are becoming so dejected.
So finally, 44th verse, Yudhishthira is giving the actual reason for his dejection, that has the Lord left this planet? I can think of no other reason for becoming so. So this is the main principal reason of Arjuna's dejection. And similarly, when we are also feeling dejected in our lives, there may be many other material reasons, like we have seen 9 reasons that we have promised something and we could not deliver that promise, or we are neglected by somebody, or we did not respect the world people, or we did not give protection, or whatever. So many reasons may be there for dejection. But the main reason for dejection can be that we are not practicing our devotional service properly, like chanting our rounds attentively, or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, or associating with the devotees. So, practicing the core practices of devotional service, actually, because of that practice, the Lord will reside in our heart. Right? So, when the Lord resides in our heart, we are satisfied. When the Lord doesn't reside in our heart, then we are dejected. Just as in the case here, Arjuna is feeling dejected, Yudhishthira Maharaj is predicting that whether the Lord has left this planet, therefore we are feeling this. Similarly, in our own lives, our dejection comes when we go away from the Lord. In the sadhaka stage, when our practice is not proper. So therefore, we need to just go to the basics only. The main thing in Krishna consciousness is to keep the main thing as main thing. Okay? The chanting 16 notes, right? Following the principles, reading Bhagavatam regularly, associating with devotees. So these are the basic things. We have to again just strengthen them. Okay, so I'll 4:15 time is now. Till what time I can go? Is it okay if I go till 5 or we should stop at 4:30?
4:45 maybe.
Should I check?
Okay, then we will directly continue to the next chapter. 15 chapter, just a few verses. Suta uvacha evam Krishna sakat Vishno bratra rajna vikalpita nana shankaspadam rupam Krishna vishlesha karshitaha.
Suta Goswami said, Arjun, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna over and above all Maharaj Yudhishthir's speculative inquiries.
So from here, first verse to sixth verses, Arjuna's feeling of separation is seen in these verses. How intensely he is feeling separation from Krishna. So when the Yudhishthira Maharaj is inquiring so many things, why you are feeling dejected, what happened in the Yadus, so that is actually triggering more and more pain in Arjuna's heart. Because already he knows the reason. He is coming from Dwarka only. And the speculative inquiries of Yudhishthira have triggered the pain of separation more. So that is told in this verse. Like in movies also sometimes we might have seen, and we see such incidents like something is known fact, but when others are inquiring in way what happened, this happened, that happened, that actually increases the pain of separation more. Okay, next verse, second. Translation.
Due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore, his body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply.
So that is the feeling of separation that he could not speak on. Right? Next, third.
With great difficulty, he checked the tears of grief that smeared his eyes. He was very distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight, and he increasingly felt affection for him.
So this is what happens in separation. Huh? So one remembers the feelings of remembrance becomes intense. One keeps on remembering the incidents happened, and then he becomes choked up with those emotions, and he could not speak, and the tears starts coming. So all that these are signs of intense emotions. Fourth, Sakyam Maitrim Sauhridam Cha Saratyadishu Samsmaram Rupam Agrajam Nitya Bashpa Gadyadaya Gira.
Remembering Lord Krishna and his well wishes, benefactions, intimate familial relations, and his chariot driving, Arjuna, overwhelmed and breathing very heavily, began to speak.
Finally, somehow holding all emotions, Arjuna started speaking. He could check the tears, but even after checking, the tears were flowing, and then he started wiping those tears. So that is the worst. Vishnu Chakravarti process. Yeah, go to the next verse. Arjuna Uvacha, now Arjuna is speaking. Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me Appaharutam Tejo Deva Vispapanam Mahat.
Arjuna said, O king, the supreme personality of Godhead Hari, who treated me exactly like an intimate friend, has left me alone. Thus my astounding power, which astonished even the demigods, is no longer with me.
Vanchitoham, I have been abandoned or rejected by the Supreme Lord. Astounding power which astonished even demigods in no longer. It's a very beautiful purport. When the Lord descended on the earth, from there you can read. Fourth line.
Okay,
Along with his eternal
when the Lord descended on the earth, along with his eternal, ever liberated associates, he not only displays the divine energy possessed by himself, but also empowers his associated devotees with the required energy to execute his mission of incarnation. It is also stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.5 that the Lord and his eternal associate descend on the earth many times, but the Lord remembers all the different roles of incarnations, whereas the associates by his supreme will forget them. Similarly, the Lord takes away with him all his associates when he disappears from the earth. The power and the energy which were bestowed upon Arjuna were required for fulfillment of the mission of the Lord, but when his mission was fulfilled, the emergency powers were withdrawn from Arjuna, because the astounding powers of Arjuna, which were astonishing even to the denizens of heaven, were no longer required, and they were not meant for going back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah, you can stop here, Mataji. So it's very nice points. Prabhupada is telling that so the Lord comes, his the servants also come, and Lord gives them power so that they can assist in his mission. And when the mission is fulfilled, the Lord will take that power. So it means we just play toys in the hands of Lord. So there is nothing to become puffed up. So Prabhupada tells him, we will come to that. So here what Prabhupada is telling, when it is required for the mission, Lord empowered Arjuna to fight in the war. And when the war is finished, because those things are not required for going back to Godhead. Sometimes now we get carried away by the powers we get in devotional service, by the positions we get in devotional service, and we think that is advancement in devotional service. That can be also not denied. Sometimes we are given some responsibility when we are advancing in devotional service. But the point that itself is not the sign of advancement. Right? So before Arjuna, when Krishna understood that these powers are not required for his going back to Godhead, he removed all of them. And Arjuna is remembering that. And he is becoming emotional. Yeah. The lesson is therefore, read that last 4 lines.
The same man.
The lesson is
the lesson is therefore that no one should be puffed up for his powers borrowed from the Lord. The sane man should rather feel obliged to the Lord for such benefactions, and must realize such power for the service of the Lord. Such power can be withdrawn at any time by the Lord. So the best use of such power and opulence is to engage them in the service of the Lord.
So that is the point. That yoga kshemam vahamyaham. So that verse is there now. I give what you lack. I provide what you lack. What is that verse? Anybody remembers?
Yoga kshemam.
Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. So how it starts?
Ananyas Chintayantam.
Ananyashintayantom yam yajana paripaste Yesham Ityaviktam Pravakshyama Pahami. So whatever we have, the Lord only has provided, and Lord will maintain them, and Lord will protect what we have. And if something is required for the service, He will award that also. Right. So therefore, we need not become artificially puffed up. But we need to be grateful that Lord has engaged us in the service. And of course, it is for our good only. When we engage in the service of the Lord, whatever talents we have, then we feel satisfied, nourished, right? We also feel like I did something for the Lord. But there's nothing to become puffed up because everything is His energy. So the fulfillment is when they are used in His service, right? Like this example is given, that we have in the temple or houses, we have fans, we have tube lights, we have zero candle bulbs, right? So many bulbs are there, but when the power cut is there any difference between the zero candle bulb or the tube light or whatever, right? Or floodlight or different watts lights. So when the power is not there, power is off from the generating station, then all are of no use. Similarly, so all the powers, we may be exhibiting, I may be exhibiting some power, and some you all may be exhibiting different powers, but all the power, all the strength, all the intelligence are coming from the Lord only. So therefore, so all credit goes to Him. Therefore, we say all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Okay, go to the next verse, 6th. Yassakshana viyogena loko hi apriyadarshanaha uttena rahito hi esha mutakah prochate yata. This is also verse for remembrance, 5 and 6.
I have just lost him whose separation for a moment would render all the universes unfavorable and would like bodies without fire.
Arjuna is coming to the main reason that I am feeling the separation from the Lord. By His separation, everything has become void, null and void, just like bodies without life. Like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when the life is not there in the body, it is useless. Right? When the life is there, you can do so many activities. Similarly, when the Lord is not there, useless. Our powers are useless. So our staying in this world is also useless. So that is Arjuna's analogy. So Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vegaham 6th verse becomes. So Prabhupada in the purport, he says that both when as the living entity is the important factor in the material body. Read that.
As the living being is the important factor in the material body, for without the living being, the material body has no value. Similarly, without Paramatma, the living being has no status quo. Similarly, Brahman or Paramatma has no locus standi without the Supreme Lord Krishna.
Yes. So, because the source of everything is Krishna only. Bijam Sarvabhutana. Aham Bija Pradapita. Or Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. Whatever. So, Krishna is the source of everything and is the root of everything. So, like Prabhupada explains this principle in 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj section. It is the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. But the body is dear to us because the soul is in this body. Therefore, the body is dear to us. Nobody wants to leave this body. And why the soul is dear to the person? Because the Paramatma is there, close to the soul. Therefore, the soul is dear. And why Paramatma is close? Because Paramatma is one of the features of the absolute truth. The partial feature. So the complete feature of the absolute truth is Bhagavan. So therefore, losing that Bhagavan, Arjuna is feeling that separation. When we lose Krishna, everything becomes null and void. Like this phenomena we can see in Brahma Vimohan Lila. right? When the Brahma stole away all the cows and cowherd boys, so Krishna expanded into cowherd, the cows and the cowherd boys. And for 1 year, the pastime happened. Then Balram could not recognize because of Yogamaya. But one thing he could understand, and the thing is that the cows are more affectionate to the cows than before, and the mothers are more affectionate to the children, the cowherd boys, than before. And for Balram, it was astonishing how this is so. And later, after 1 year, when Yogamaya was removed, then Balram was, oh, this is Krishna only expanding. So why I'm making this point? Because Krishna is more attractive than anything else. So we are attracted to others, we are attracted to our children or whatever. The attraction is there because the principle of attraction is coming from Krishna only. So that is somehow perverted. Right? Krishna is having 6 opulences. So the opulences are just in some portions being displayed in different people, right? And that too for a limited period of time. And that also we are attracted. But if we understand that this is all coming from Krishna only. Like once in the airplane, so Prabhupada is traveling with his disciple, and there is air hostess coming. And the disciple could not see that Prabhupada is looking towards me. And then the disciple just was seeing the air hostess, who was beautiful. And then he was just seeing, and then the air hostess went like that. And the disciple turned his face like that. And Prabhupada was just right in front of him, face to face. And the disciple felt a little embarrassed. Oh my God, Prabhupada has got me and watching the air hostess. And Prabhupada, above that, he said that, beautiful, isn't she? And he could not understand what to say. It's so embarrassing situation in front of the spiritual master. Then Prabhupada commented that if the part and parcel is so beautiful, how beautiful the source will be. That's enough. That has pierced so deep in his heart that he was detached from all that false beauty. So therefore, the point is that so Krishna is the sum total of all beauty. So when we are attracted to him, so then everything will become pale. The 7th verse. From 7 to 17 verses, Arjuna is remembering the incidents where all Krishna protected him and where all Krishna empowered him. So all those incidents is written. Translation.
Only by his merciful strength was I able to vanquish all the lusty princes assembled at the place of King Drupada for the selection of the bridegroom. With my bow and arrow, I could pierce the fish target and thereby gain the hand of Draupadi.
There is one incident where he could win the hand of Draupadi, piercing the fish. So Arjuna is giving that credit to Krishna only by his merciful strength. Was able to vanquish all the lusty princes. Maybe you can watch. There is one small video. Arjuna, some cartoon is there. It's very beautiful. You can later watch that. The whole incident will be shown in that. Next verse 8. I will not go to the purport because they are all past tense only. Prabhupada explaining. You can also read it. 8.
Because he was near me, it was possible for me to conquer with great dexterity the powerful king of heaven, Indradeva, along with his demigod associates, and thus enable the fire god to devastate the Khandava forest, and only by his grace was the demon named Maya saved from the blazing Khandava forest. And thus we could build our assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship, where all the princes assembled during the performance of Rajasuya Yajna and paid you tributes. 9.
Yeah. So this is the 8th verse, right? We discussed. So Prabhupada is telling the purport. The modern demons are the harmful mental scientists who create some material wonders for disturbance in the society. The middle purport, middle of the purport. So, the Mayadhana, so is a resident of Khandava forest. Khandava forest is protected by Indra, Indradev. And there are some medicinal herbs in this Khandava forest, which are digestive aids for Agni, because Agni got some problem of digestion because swallowed a lot of ghee in Ignis. Then he was suggested you have to eat some herbs which will be available in the Khandava forest, which was protected by Indra. When Agni approached Khandava forest to engulf the Khandava forest, but Indra started raining. Why? Because there is Takshaka taking shelter in the Khandava forest. Takshaka took shelter of Indra, and Indra started raining. And then Agni takes shelter of Arjuna and Krishna. Then Agni, because of their help, Agni starts engulfing the forest. And Indra again starts showering the rains, and Arjuna fights with Indra and defeats. And then, therefore, there is a time Agni gives these weapons, Gandiva bow and all those things to Arjuna, the chariot and everything. So during that time only, there is one demon in the forest called Mayadhana. So Krishna wanted to kill him because of demon. Therefore, that Mayadhana takes shelter of Arjuna. Then Arjuna protects the Mayadhana also from Agni. He himself gave shelter to Agni, and again, because Mayadhana took shelter of Arjuna, and Arjuna again protects Mayadhana. Mayadhana, because of that help, he builds the assembly house. Not assembly house, what is that? Indraprastha, that palace for the Pandavas. So in the purport, so I just gave the background. So now in the purport, Prabhupada says that Mayadhana is a demon, but he has some supernatural powers. And even the demons have these powers, but they do only harm to the society. And Prabhupada, in this typical way, he says the modern scientists are like the demons, who also create so many modern gadgets, nuclear weapons, which may harm the public. So in the Ishopanishad purport, Prabhupada says, demons having power only create disturbances. So that sloka comes, Andam Tama Praveshanti. Those who, a wise demon is more dangerous, Prabhupada says, than an ignorant fool. A godless civilization with advanced knowledge is more dangerous than civilization with less education. So in the purport of Ishopanishad, Prabhupada says this point. We can read the purport later. So Prabhupada is very heavy about the modern education institutes. Like they're like slaughterhouses. So because a child, or innocent child, catching the hand of the mother in one hand and with the finger in one hand, he enters the modern education institutes, and he comes out from the pipeline of modern education. On the other side, you see the hand of mother is not there. The hand of somebody else will come, and in the hand, the finger is not there. It's, the mouth, the finger is not there, but in the other hand, there is one bottle of liquor. So this is what happens in the modern education institutes. Therefore, Prabhupada says they're like slaughterhouses. So therefore, better to be a fool than become educated, because you can do more danger. Like a cobra on the diamond on the cobra. So to catch the diamond, you may get stung by the cobra. So very dangerous. Then a cobra will be there. So that one point Prabhupada touches in this purport. And the next point Prabhupada tells in this purport is, when Mayadana took shelter of Arjuna, devotees are therefore more merciful than the Lord. Purport, if you see, devotees are therefore more merciful than the Lord, and devotional service, the mercy of a devotee is more valuable than the mercy of the Lord. So very, very important point. That I think we'll stop with this verse. Now I want devotees to tell you some points that please explain or comment on this statement of Prabhupada. That devotees are more merciful than the Lord. In devotional service, the mercy of the devotee is more valuable than the mercy of the Lord.
Prabhuji,
Yeah, pardon?
One second. Forgot what I was saying.
Like example, I can give that Prabhupada is telling, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord himself, so he was very strict. He rejected anyone properly not following, or he rejected Chota Haridas. So Prabhupada said that, but I am not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I need all of your help to spread this mission. Right? So therefore Prabhupada encouraged everyone. Therefore the devotee of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord. So in that aspect, I am asking that line.
Prabhuji, can I say?
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, that Amrish Maharaj, he was fasting, and then Durvasa Muni went to the Lord, and Lord said, you go to him and ask for forgiveness, then only I'll forgive. He was so mercifully forgave the Durvasa Muni because of the fasting, Ekadashi, Dvadashi, breaking the fast.
So Amrish was merciful, more merciful than the Lord, because the chakra was not forgiving, and the Lord himself told that I cannot forgive you because you offended the devotee, and my devotee will not forgive you. The chakra will not forgive you. I'm helpless. So if the devotee forgives you, then that may help. So therefore, the devotee in devotional service, the mercy of the devotee is more important than the mercy of the Lord, because the Lord is also helpless. Therefore, any other example like this?
Nityananda Prabhu, Jagai and Madai.
Yes, Nityananda Prabhu, Jagai and Madai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was Mahavadanya Avatar was ready to kill Jagai and Madai, but because they took shelter of Lord Nityananda, they were saved. Exactly. Wonderful. Any other example?
Kala Krishna Das, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had rejected him, but the devotees engaged him in the service again.
Wonderful. Very appropriate. So Kala Krishna Das was rejected because he was attracted to the Bhattaharis. That episode we know. But the devotees, they engaged him in some service, suitable service. Just go and go to Bengal, just tell the whereabouts of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Mother Sachi, something like that. So when the Lord rejects, we need the shelter of devotees because they somehow engage in the service. So it's very important. But the mercy of the devotee is more important than the mercy of the Lord. And the devotees are more merciful than the Lord by the mercy of the Lord only. So this Prabhupada gives in the purport of Bhagavad Gita, Nabuddhi Vedam Janayet. Sometimes Krishna tells that don't disturb the people who are attached to other paths or other things. Do your devotional service peacefully. But Prabhupada writes in the purport, but the devotees are more merciful that they somehow go and disturb these people also. Because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Because the Lord wants everyone to come back. Therefore, the devotees disturb them also, so that they give devotional service. So, there are many examples.
Prabhuji, even
Yeah,
Prahlad
yeah.
Maharaj told Nashikanda, you forgive my father. We asked, but he only asked forgiveness, forgive my father, whatever he has done.
Yes, yes, Prahlad Maharaj is there. And we have the example of Shiva's Pandit, the tailor of Shiva's Pandit. All those who are connected to Shiva's Pandit, they also got the mercy of the Lord because they are connected to the devotee. So, therefore, for us, mercy of devotee is more important than the last piece. Okay, just we finish this purport, go to the last part. Sri Krishna, however, being pleased with Maya for his taking shelter of a devotee. Lord Sri Krishna, yeah, read that.
Lord Sri Krishna, however, being pleased with Maya for his taking shelter of a devotee, asked him to render service unto King Yudhishthira by building a wonderful assembly house. The process is that by the grace of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is obtained, and by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotees is obtained. The club of Bhimsena was also gift of Maya Danav.
So we have to understand, by the mercy of the Lord, we get the association of a devotee, and by the grace of a devotee, we get, of course, by the grace of the devotee, we get the Lord. By the mercy of the Lord, we get engaged in the service of the devotee. So when we are all having this opportunity, we are engaged in the service of Srila Prabhupada in this moment, that actually the mercy of the Lord, right? So it's a very fortunate situation that even the examples of Prataprudra and Ramandra is there. That Prataprudra was trying to get the association of the Lord and the mercy of the Lord, but he was rejected being a king. But when Ramanandra recommended Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that this king has actually gave me salary, even though I am not working for him, when he wanted me to render some service to you. So then the Lord was pleased, and he told that, okay, you will surely get the mercy because you pleased the devotee. So there are some examples. Lord's grace follows devotee's grace. Yeah, when we are in some responsible position, it's the divine potency acting. We have to understand that the divine energy, Srimati Radharani, is acting. Okay, so we'll stop here. So we are finished in chapter 8 verse. So we'll continue and finish this chapter next week. So thank you very much. Please,
Hare Krishna, thank you.
May for taking little overtime.
Hare Krishna.
Great. Hare Krishna. Srila
Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna.
ki jai.
Jai.
Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, there were some closed book exam questions that I wanted to check. Can we check it next time? Because 13th chapter something questions are a bit, closed book questions are like open book questions.
Maybe you have to check with Anush Prabhu or what? I don't know.
Prabhuji, if there is some doubt in question, we ask the teacher who is taking the unit, devotees ask.
Okay.
If it would be possible to clarify.
Yeah, I can clarify. You want me now or next week is okay?
Yeah, next week is okay.
Yeah, next week we'll start maybe little 15 minutes. Or I think it will be sufficient. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe 2:15 we'll start if some clarification is required. That is okay?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, bro.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So devotees can make, this was just one announcement. I have shared the schedule for upcoming classes. Next Saturday would be the last class of this unit. Then Sunday is Radha Ashtami. So it will be No, Sunday we will start the next unit, and next Saturday after that is Radhastami, which will be off, and then Sunday we will have exam for unit 5, and then unit 6 will continue. Please
Hare
make
Krishna.
note of that.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Do we have OBA question, Prabhuji, for this unit 5? Because I couldn't see.